Do you live in a large, stressful city, and have you ever wondered how your life compared to other places? Back in 2011, while stuck in a traffic bottleneck in São Paulo, Brazil, I wondered if residents of other megacities had a comparable level of stress. Because life in São Paulo was stressful. Noise, pollution, traffic, floods, pickpocketers, and the awful smell in certain places all contribute to the sense that this is not the life you should be living. In the end, this contributed to my decision to move out of São Paulo and Brazil. But then I discovered that other large cities in Europe, Asia, and South America had similar problems, but in different dimensions and with different causes. Then I found a ranking of the least stressful cities in the world, and to my surprise, all the megacities where I lived had lower positions. That explained why I felt that life in all of them was not really as good as it could be. In fact, all the large cities that I knew were quite stressful. And so are London, Paris, or San Francisco. But it doesn't need to be like that. And that is the most important lesson that this ranking, elaborated by the German-based wellness products brand Vi, taught me. However, before we begin the ranking itself, I would like to ask a small favor. If you enjoyed this episode, please hit the like and subscribe button. So let's go for the ranking of the least stressful cities in the world. To build the ranking, Vi used a method considering indicators like population density, traffic congestion, weather and air pollution, noise and light pollution, among many other factors. They also consider financial indicators like unemployment rate, financial stress, social security, and even the citizen's health. I had been to some of the least stressful cities mentioned in this ranking. From my own experience, I could only agree with the results. Let's start with the 8th least stressful city in the world, Innsbruck, in Austria. I visited the Tyrolean capital 8 years ago. Although the 6-digit number of residents does not allow me to call it a small city, it had the feeling of a local community except for the crowds of tourists during winter. Ski resorts are all around Innsbruck. Innsbruck achieved such a prominent place in the rank thanks to factors like the low pollution indicators, it's not a noisy city, and the air is as clean as one could wish. That large winter resort has such a clean atmosphere, in fact, that surprised me. In a scale from 0 to 100, Innsbruck scored 92.2. The 7th place goes to Copenhagen, in Denmark. I visited Copenhagen more recently than Innsbruck, but for a shorter period. The feeling of a larger city was more present than in Austria, but the parks and pedestrian paths allow you to go in your own rhythm. Copenhagen is a remarkably safe city, and achieved some of the highest results in indicators like safety, health services, and political stability. And that makes sense. When was the last time you heard about major riots in Denmark? Maybe Hamlet from Shakespeare. From 0 to 100, the city scored 92.6. In the 6th place, another Scandinavian city, Oslo, in Norway. But first the obvious, Norway is expensive. The Norwegian capital, even more. A Big Mac there can cost as much as a fancy restaurant menu in other parts of Europe. But for its residents, Norway offers one of the strongest economies in entire Europe. And the local government used part of the enormous profits from oil exportation to boost the quality of life. Things like unemployment rates below 5%, the allegedly best health service of the planet, and world-class public transport services granted Oslo a place in the top 10. Total score 93.9. In the 50th place, Melbourne, Australia. One of the 2 Southern Hemisphere cities in the top 8, Melbourne counted with, surprise surprise, excellent results in the climate indicator. Compared to Northern European cities, it looked almost like cheating the fact that the Australian city scored a whopping 71.2 in the weather index, an index measuring how close the city's climate is to the ideal for human life. This is more than the double of Oslo result in the same index, for example. Melbourne also scored low in pollution, as low as Copenhagen. And that is remarkable considering that Melbourne has a population almost 10 times larger than the Danish capital. Melbourne's total score was 94.2. In the 4th place, Wellington, New Zealand. Wellington scored a perfect 100 in the indicator of social and political stability. It also had remarkably good results in demographics because of the low population density, and prested one of the lowest unemployment levels of all cities in the research, 4.6%. Curiously, among the top 8, Wellington has the worst indicators in traffic. Maybe the sheep, New Zealand has 5.6 of them for each human, are forcing the cars to wait too long while they cross the roads. Wellington total score, 95. In the third place, Helsinki, Finland. Among the cities in the top 8, the Finnish capital has the second worst results in the climate index. Ironically, the worst weather belongs to the best city in the ranking, to be revealed soon. Still, Helsinki reached the podium by having near perfect governance indicators and excellent health services for the population. Their total score, 95. In the second place, Bern, Switzerland. Yeah, the ranking of the least stressful cities on the planet would not be complete without a Swiss city. There are not many nations in the world that value peace and tranquility as Switzerland, their non-belligerent approach to diplomacy being a reflex of this culture. Among all the cities survived, Bern has the lowest population density, meaning that people lucky to live in this breathtaking city have space enough for their kids to play, their dogs to run, and to hide their colossal gold reserves. They also have the lowest unemployment among all the cities in the ranking, 2.8%. This is such a low unemployment level that, in less stable economies, it could be considered harmful. But apparently not in Bern. Bern total score, 96.6. And the least stressful city in the world, Reykjavik, in Iceland. My reaction after seeing Reykjavik in the first place was, what about the weather and climate component of the ranking? How can the capital of a country called Iceland take the first place? Vi, however, did not forget the climate index. In that component, Reykjavik scored the lowest result of all the top-ranked cities. Their weather index result is even worse than Moscow in Russia, for example. But still, Iceland's capital got the first place. These are the reasons why. Almost perfect results in governance, almost no traffic, a perfect 100 score in the air pollution index, where 0 is the most polluted and 100 is the least polluted, another 100 in sound pollution. Icelanders apparently do not use their car honks that often, health services that are comparable to Switzerland. And what are the lessons from Reykjavik? Well, when you are a fairy tale city with no traffic, no pollution, no noise, and good doctors, you can have a miserable climate and still be the least stressful city in the world. Their total score? 100. And what are your opinions? Have you ever been in any of these cities? Let me know in the comment section. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Remember to subscribe to our channel for the next ones.